Greetings ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this video for Fork This Life, written by Jinxes2011. This video contains chapter 21, and as always I hope that you enjoy, and if you do, please consider subscribing. Chapter 21, a series of unfortunate events. Ferdinand POV. I am running without a direction or destination. My only real goal is to get away from the man trying to kill me. I can barely tell where I'm going because of the fear filling my mind. But I don't trip or stumble as I run. I don't know where Gerald is, whether I'm being followed or not. So it's a big relief when Gerald's voice sounds in my head again. Change direction, he's following, but I don't think he knows where you are, he says tersely. A moment later, he pops out of the ground in front of me and flies into my pack. Not even looking back or stopping, I turn right and continue running. Over the hills, around cliffs, my feet keep pounding a steady beat against the bare earth below. Earth turns gradually to grass, grass turns to sand, and sand turns to lapping water. I've actually run as far as the ocean without noticing. Just as I'm about to turn again and run along the shore, I hear Gerald speaking again. Hey, you can stop now. You could have stopped ages ago. He's long gone. Can you even hear me? I've been saying this for a while now, he says, irritated. Stopping, I suddenly feel exhausted and sit down on the sand. It's as if my body had forgotten to get tired while running, and now it was catching up. I take deep breaths and steady my heart rate. The air feels like it's burning my insides. And it reminds me that I still have a stab wound in my side. Shrugging my pack off and my back, I open it up and stretch through the contents until I find the small vial. It's a healing potion. I keep one in reserve in case I get a serious wounds while away from the city. I pop off the cork and drink some of its contents. A red liquid bears a strange resemblance to blood. Thankfully, the taste doesn't share the same similarity, instead tasting like very strong tea. The rest I pour onto the wound, wincing in pain as the potion irritates my injuries. I walk for a moment as the wound stops seeping blood and starts closing at a visible rate. Are you sure he's gone? I ask, my mind now calm enough to talk. He responds a moment later, sounding relieved. Quite sure. You okay? Yeah, I think so. Just a bit tired, I say, still struggling to catch my breath. What happened after I left? We fought briefly, if you can call that a fight, Gerald sighs. It was more of me charging at him in increasingly fast speeds until I just used a whole bunch of ki to blow him away. It wasn't able to do much damage to him, regrettably. I'm just glad that we both managed to get out all of that with our limbs intact. Did you manage to find out who he was? Better. I found out what he was, he says happily, and then his voice turns grim. A doppelganger at level 48. A doppelganger? What's a doppelganger? Not too sure myself. From what I remember, if you see someone who looks exactly like you, then you're a doppelganger. It's supposed to be bad luck or something, Gerald says uncertainly. But level 48, I say in shock. His stats must be way higher than mine. Let me just math it out for a moment, he says. Math. His total stats is 123 points higher than yours. What? How can you know that? Can you read people's statuses now? But if you get 2.5 stat points for the first 10 levels, the 3 for the next 10, and 4 for the next 10, my guess would be that the next 10 would give you 5.5, and then 7.5. Knowing that, it's simple multiplication and addition to see if you've gotten the total 87 points from leveling, and he's got a total of 210. He states as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. Are you done talking yet? Someone says from behind me. My slowly relaxing mind goes into full alert again. I scramble to my feet, looking warily behind me. Standing there is a carefree smile, and his face is the same grimy old man from earlier. Seeing that he doesn't seem to have any bad intentions, I relax a bit. Who are you? Why are you following me? No need to be so tense, I just want to chat. Have a seat, he says, sitting down in the sand and patting the sand in front of him. I don't sit. Oh, don't. That's fine too. but aren't your legs a bit tired from all that running? I sit. Are you talking to yourself, or is someone invisible again? Gerald asks. Someone invisible, the old grimy man says. Not even a conventional sense, though. Gerald just can't see me because I have no manner. How did he... He knows about Gerald as well. Wait, what? I remember you. You're that fortune teller from way back in... I try to remember exactly what city it was called. Physo City, he supplies. Honestly, Ferdinand, you stayed there for almost a year, and you still don't know the name of it. How do you know about us? I ask, thoughtfully confused. 1 second. He starts writing rapidly in the sand, his finger a blur of moves as it moves. I can't leave Gerald out of this, can we? He finishes writing a few lines and wipes the sand clean, and starts writing again. To answer your question, you already know that I can see the future. It's much easier to see the past or even the present. Of course, I know about you and Gerald. I am not sure if that's how it works, but then again, I'm not sure it isn't. Who are you? I ask. Everything about him is so strange, knowing about the things that should be impossible for anyone to know, being unharmed from a strike from someone almost at level 50. He thinks about it for a second and then smiles. You can call me Joe. As for the reason I'm following you, it's to ask if I can follow you around on your adventures. What? Don't worry, I won't be a bother. I can take care of my own meals and accommodation, and I won't get in the way in fights. His finger continues to dash across the sand as he says this, although I don't see him glance down even once. I frowned. I'm not having a stranger following me around for no reason. He shrugs. All right then. I look at him for a few seconds longer, but he doesn't do or say anything else besides look at me steadily. Shrugging myself, I get up and dust the sand off my pants. Grabbing my pack, I start walking along the shore towards Lanesport City. Oh, that was strange, said Gerald. Yes, it certainly was, I trail off as I look over my shoulder. Joe was still following me. I stop and turn around and face him. What are you doing? He scratches his head. Well, see, when I asked of you if I could follow along, I was just being polite. I'm following you regardless, he says, smiling abashedly. For a moment, I'm lost for words. The way he acts is so abnormal that I don't quite know how to treat him, and this is coming from a guy who is talking fork as a friend. I can't help but remember how the doppelganger sphere slipped right through him, and how he was right behind me after I ran so fast as I could until the ocean. And thinking about it, he wasn't even out of breath. He probably wouldn't be a hindrance in combat like that, and with skills like those, it shouldn't be hard for him to provide food for himself. All right, I concede reluctantly. You can follow me, but take a bath first, would you? Joe freezes. Damn, he swears, looking down at himself. All that time and not a single bath. No wonder people weren't eager to get their fortunes told. He looks back at me. Just a minute, please. And then he sprints into the water until I can't see him anymore. Times like these I start to wish that I was still a farmer. Gerald POV. Welp. That was more than a mite strange, writing in the sand by an invisible hand, detailing the other half of Ferdinand's conversation. And there isn't even a depression in the sand where I presume the owner and the hand were sitting, or footprints. Nothing really. If not for the writing, I might have thought that Ferdinand had gone a bit loopy. And now we seem to have another member in the party. Yay! Still, I think I can metaphorically breathe a sigh of relief now that we weren't talking towards almost certain death. Is that a death flag? Maybe. Meh. We should be fine. I suppose we should all be considering whether it's safe to return to Lanesport or not. After all, the doppelganger knows what Ferdinand looks like. But then again, there's that Harry guy. The doppelganger says he knows who our informant was, so he's definitely in danger. We can't just leave him to be killed, so we should at least alert him before moving to another city. Conversing with Ferdinand, he quite agrees, and is understandably eager to get away from anywhere the doppelganger may be able to track him down. It doesn't take us long to get back to the city, since we all have to do is follow the ghost. It's a strange feeling returning to a place where everyone was nonchalantly going about their daily lives when we've just returned from a legitimately life-threatening situation. Repeating our actions from last time, I communicate with Harry, telling him to get out of the area for a while and briefly explaining why. Then we leave again as quickly as we came. Harry, point of view. The day after the voice spoke in my head, it speaks again. Sorry about this, but you may have a level 48 doppelganger coming to kill you. He's the one who killed Richard, and he said that he knew who provided his location to us, so you should probably disappear for a while, he said. Not what I was expecting with the day when I woke up this morning. And he let you leave, I asked skeptically. The man I'd met yesterday didn't look anywhere near strong enough to face off against a level 48. We managed to run away since we couldn't do much to damage him. He covered himself in some sort of red armor, apparently. Oops, been speaking for two... The voice stopped. Really? Didn't even meet you. I've only ever heard your voice yesterday, and you expect me to believe they have someone coming to kill me. Ha! It's more likely that this is a ploy from someone aiming for my position. It wouldn't be hard to incriminate me if I suddenly disappear. People would have their suspicions, but if I don't turn up to dispute them, they might as well shrug and give it in to him. Still, by that same notion, it's likely that they would have hired an assassin to tell me as I went into hiding to make me truly disappear for good. I'm not suited for combating stealthy opponents, especially since I haven't seen much combat in the last few years. How could I find and ideally kill an assassin before it kills me? Unfortunately, I doubt I can enlist the help of a wizard. We have so few, and they're all overworked as it is. No choice but to draw him out, huh? That said, it would be suicide to do so thoughtlessly. If I am going to do this, I might as well be on my terms. First, a place. I seem to remember thumbing through the mountains of files stored neatly in a cabinet behind my desk. I select one from what I'm looking for. This one is new. I got it only yesterday. Looking at it, I read through the details. Tons of supplies have been moved from this particular warehouse near the docks. In other words, it is now empty, and it will be for another few days before it is filled up with another shipment again. A large, open space was perfect for my needs. Now, for equipment. It should be strange if I were to go around work wearing my combat gear. So I wait for the end of the day before I head to the armory. Taking a small, intricate key from my pocket within my coat, I unlock my personal storage chest. I unstrap the rapier from my side. It's an ornamental piece and doesn't even have an edge, so I would hesitate to even call it a weapon. The rapier in its chest, however, is a true blade crafted with a rare metal, mithril. Unsheathing it partially, I test its edge with my thumb. A thin line of blood wells from the paper-thin cut, making me smile despite the pain. Truly an exquisite piece of work, sharp as the day it was first honed to a razor edge, and without the faintest trace of rust or wear. I put the blade to one side and lift my armor from the chest. Brown with faint lines of gold, it's a fairly simple design, but despite looking similar to leather armor, it can deflect arrows and blades alike with relative ease, as it is in fact made of a heavy leather of Verum. Stripping off my coat, I don the armor over my soft undershirt, rolling my shoulders as the familiar weight settles over them. The only item remaining inside the chest is a small pouch, which I attach to my belt. A bag of holding, as expensive as it is useful. Through some strange wizardry that I don't understand in the slightest, it is somehow able to contain a volume about 3 times what it appears to be, while completely eliminating the weight of those items. This one contains a collection of useful potions, some money, and a few other items that should be helpful. I leave the building and head over to the warehouse sticking to the busy streets to dissuade a potential assassin. Of course, it very well may be that there are no assassins, but in that case I'll just be a bit late for dinner. No harm done. Perhaps I could even make use of the opportunity to do some light training and get myself back into practice. There are a couple of guards patrolling the place, but not nearly as many as there would be if this place was loaded with goods. After a few minutes of observing their movements, I take advantage of the gap and step inside. Shutting doors silently behind me, blessed oil hinges, a large open space greets my eyes. I briefly glance around the rafters just in case anyone is there, and walk into the middle of the space. The only sound that is heard is my own footsteps, vastly different to the bustling noise of the headquarters. Reaching the center, I take a deep breath and settle myself into a state similar to vigilance skill that sentries and guards often possess. But rather than focusing on eyesight, it focuses on hearing, or hearken. Through it, I can hear the footsteps of the guards outside, still on patrol. A gentle lap of water against the piers, a breath of wind subtly breezing along. Barely a minute later, I hear a body hit the ground, and then another. My hand tightens around the hilt of my rapier, and it draws silently from the sheath. The door swings open, a bloody spear head precedes the entrance of the wielder as it steps inside. My eyes narrow. There is a sense of familiarity about him that I can't quite place. I take a second, more careful to look at him, and a name almost forgotten over the years floats to the forefront of my mind. Rodney? I involuntarily utter in my shock. He looks different, but that can't be attributed to age. But then again, he's dead. He can't be here. And that leads my mind to other possibilities. He must have been why Richard came here. Demons, he said. He would be concerned about demons, but not enough to come out in retirement for it. He would have just sent a message back here, and washed his hands of the matter. However, if his son was involved, it would all make sense. But how? My mind flicked back to earlier today. Level 48 doppelganger, the voice had said, and it suddenly seems much more plausible than it had earlier. And if so, I'm in trouble. A doppelganger, is it? I say, hoping to buy time. His face twitches slightly before he reins it back into an impassive mask. You know, I used to enjoy talking to people before killing them, seeing their fear, their pain, he says quietly. Then I lost my arm. I glanced to his side to see the empty sleeve. I'd been so focused on his face that I hadn't even noticed. Without another word, a red mist explodes forth from his body, bringing with it a primal fear. My throat tightens and my mouth draws itself into a grim line, but it isn't because of the fear. It's because I recognize the mist. Only the most brutal killers, the ones who truly enjoyed the pain that they cause, can wield it, and it is as dangerous as it is rare. Even my mind is coldly recording information on it, my hand is transporting potion after potion to my mouth, and my legs are rapidly shifting me backwards to gain distance. Within a few seconds, the mist settles around his body, and a spear in the shape of armor, making my blood run cold. He must have killed several hundred people to be able to physically manifest his killing intent, perhaps more than 1,000. I can't even begin to guess, because I've never even seen it before, only ever heard of it. It looks as if escaping this battle alive will be no easy feat. Calming my nerves, I raise my sword, rouse my fighting spirit, and leap into combat, flinging an orange vial ahead of me. POV Gerald. How do you evade pursuers? In all honesty, it's as easy as breathing. If they don't have the tracking skills, just head across country, disappear into a forest or something, and hey presto! As far as civilization is concerned, you don't exist anymore. Well, in this world at least, back on Earth, search parties and things would be organized. But you catch my drift. Unfortunately, Ferdinand has this strange attachment to having food, shelter, beds, etc., so we have to figure out a way to confuse people that could be tracking us. Fortunately, we don't have a set destination, so we can go any number of directions. For now, we are heading north and west, heading across the land to a place called Ixer City. It is not linked directly by roads to Laneport, so any trackers shouldn't assume that we would go there. Of course, if they have magical means of tracking us, we're screwed. Always look on the bright side of life, right? So we should be fine. From what I've seen, there aren't many wizards in the cities I've seen so far, so it is unlikely for there to be one with a particular ability to be chasing us. And it might just be the doppelganger following us, or it might be nobody. I mean, I haven't seen anyone. There probably isn't anyone. With Ferdinand's experience and my skills, traveling over the countryside is a breeze. I find wild animals when we need food, one of us kills it, and Ferdinand cooks it. I keep watch at night, and Ferdinand keeps our course as we keep each other company with idle conversation. Apparently the person is following us, the invisible one. It's an old man-type character, and he's quite strange. According to Ferdinand, he's never seen Joe eat or sleep. Instead, Joe often looks up at the sky all night. Ferdinand tells me that when he wakes up, Joe is usually in the same position as he was when Ferdinand last saw him in the previous night. I really don't like it. I can't see him, which means I won't be able to notice or stop him if he ever does something. Still, Ferdinand says that he's a good person when he's not doing weird things, so I can give him the benefit of the doubt, for now. A couple days later, I see something emerging on the edge of my vision. It's a village, and it's currently inhabited by skeletons. Again? End of a chapter. And that, my friends, is the end of the video. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please consider supporting the author from the links down below. And if you'd like to support this channel, there are numerous ways listed down below. The easiest of which would be to share this channel, subscribe, like, and comment, and all the other stuff that Google wants us to push. But anyways, until the next video, I hope that you all have a good one, and I'll see you then. Cheers.